Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, for the first ever Tidal Talk here in RLSS. And it's brought to you tonight by Tommy B himself and the one and only Mr. Solonalo. Welcome in. You
What's
need to
going
refresh,
on?
Curio, is all. I'm excited, man. It's our first week. We kick things off with a bang, man, and we bring some exciting stuff, whether it's simply just RLSS, whether we're talking stats. We're bringing in a new segment this week called Around the Bay, which we will get to in a little bit. And that will be talking about some collegiate action this week going on with some familiar faces. So that's going to be some pretty unique titles that we have coming in, brought to you by me and Solinello.
No, it's
Pretty
exciting. I mean, we're doing this now too. This is what the 8. We're in season 8. I've already lost
Season eight.
count. I've been in so many of them, and now we have a podcast going. I freaking love it. The sun is slowly starting to get out of my face. It just hit the perfect time. Jeez, I need to get blinds.
Thankfully, I have a production studio inside of a dark room. I'm just kidding. But I'm excited, man. We have some pretty awesome stuff. Just to give you guys a quick breakdown of what this is going to look like. Following this, we're going to be having highlights of the week coming up. And then after that, we'll have our Around the Bay, followed by RLSS stats with week 1 big matchups. And then we'll close out as we prepare for a 9 o'clock match this evening. And I can give you guys a quick look over at what that's going to look like as well.
Oh my God.
That Kraken Crew Predators will be taking on Yukio. Listen, I've been trying to get confident saying the last half of that name, and I can't do it. So we're probably going to just call him Yukio for the remainder of the evening.
Yeah, I'm not even going to take a crack at it. I can ask Phoenix, though.
Yeah, that would be. I tried to get it, and I can't seem to figure out that last name. So stick to Tidal Talking. That's a good one, man. I love everybody that's came out and supported us. But without further ado, man, let's kind of kick this thing off and get into a couple interesting things here this week. We're gonna head on over to our Spotlight of the Week section. And we're going to take a quick look at a couple of replays. Does this look big enough on your guys' screen for you, or do we need to go full screen? This is kind of a test week for us, so we're just kind of trying to feel things out.
I think it's bad.
You don't think it's bad? You like it?
Nah.
All right. The transition sound is loud.
I haven't even heard a transition sound.
I don't even know if I'm able to turn that down. But I'll try to figure that out. Oh, I didn't mean to hit play. But this first clip comes from Krusty's Feet Minions and Verzitmar. And I was hoping to get a few more clips this week. We kind of set a ping out in the chat if you are out there. And if it's you taking a clip of yourself or reminding the caster, or if you're watching a game where something cool happened, this is what we want this section to be for. So the more we can have, the more we can talk about. So, here this week, we got only a couple of clips, which is fine. And then we got an interesting little take from Solonalo that we'll get into shortly after that. But this comes from Krusty's Feet Minions and Verzitmar. I hope I never hear that.
Verzitmar might be taking this away. Let's see if KCG can switch things up in the final minute and a bit here.
Oh, you got sound, bro?
Martian passive Virus. Virus going for a double tap. He gets it. A triple tap. What a shot from backboard. Damn.
Dude, it's so beautiful.
I was not ready for this.
Tsunami level. You know, these players are starting to get more capable of this. And a good grab off the back wall there to stay with the play. So,
big
matchup that we, unfortunately, I was not able to see because I was also casting at this time. But, you know, this is a cool segment. Cool segment to kind of
KCG can switch things up in the final
other things going on in the week.
Martian passive Virus. Virus going for a double tap. He gets it.
Great
a
pass.
Triple tap. What a shot from backboard.
Terrible first shot,
Damn.
but really follows it up well.
Good placement here.
Not ready for this.
Penguin, unfortunately, wasn't there for the touch, and I think it kind of threw Night Nolly off a little low boost, and it was going to cost him. It was a big showing for Verzitmar in the first week. So
5-0 in that game is crazy.
5-0, and what looks like it was the closeout game. This is game 4, and they're up 5-0 with a 2-0 lead in the series. So that actually was one of the goals that put that game away. And this one here is I'm just gonna let you guys get a little taste of it. I'm not even gonna give you a hit. But,
I've heard about this.
Let's just take a look.
They are on match point. This is golden goal territory for them. And Teixeira has been one of the scariest names that you can see coming at you, looking for the extension, and look at the power he finds on it. Owl drops it down. Juji, surely. No, Owl, what are you doing? What is that?
Owl, bro.
Absolutely not.
Oh, no,
the crazy
Owl.
part is that goal would have put the 3-0 victory to take the series lead.
Oh my God, I didn't even see that.
He blocks his teammate in
OT. I didn't realize it was in overtime.
Owl,
bro.
Looking for the extension.
Back to your roots.
Finds on it. Owl drops it down. Juji,
no,
Owl, what are
That's a riptide play. What are you doing?
I want to hear the comms because I've got to imagine that this had a little bit of hotness in the comms, whether it was something funny or maybe an intentional move from Owl.
If that's intentional, we got some issues, Al. Come on, man.
So that was an couple exciting moments that we did get to see on the main channel, but still some kind of hot moments for everybody involved. So and we saw a cool play from Virus in that first game, and then just the funny mishap. And I think this is just a reminder that mistakes can still happen. I think if you're a Riptide player watching, even when you watch RLCS, you still see those guys make mistakes. And I think that's a hard thing. Mentality plays a big play in Rocket League, and I think the hardest pill to swallow is just knowing that, sometimes you're going to miss. Sometimes those players are going to block those shots, and you got to be able to take the punches. So it was a little funny reminder of mistakes do still happen.
Oh, and I do it all the time too, so I get it. You gotta laugh at yourself in situations like that, And if you're not laughing at yourself and you're upset, eventually you're gonna laugh about it.
I mean, up in this series, I don't know if they ended up winning that one 3-0. We'll have to take a look over at it if it ended up costing them a part of the series. I know it wasn't a reverse sweep nonetheless, so I do believe they ended up winning that series all around. But little things like that, to be able to laugh and have a good time while you're still staying competitive, I think is a big part. But without taking too much of the spotlight here, man, let's kind of get into a new segment that is going to be introduced for the first time in all of RLSS. It's going to be a rather unique part to Tidal Talk.
I kind of like this segment. It's our spotlight of the week, and Tommy and I just came up with this, and I think it's a good way to get to the community and get a little bit of outreach and get people to kind of know what's going on. So what we're going to do is every week we'll have somebody new. We're going to ask them questions. Hey, how's your season going? What do you do to practice? Like just questions so you can get to know them and they can kind of express themselves. So if you're ready, spotlight of the week. It's going to go to Javi of Egoists. And I like him. I like it. And he's got some wild answers. And the first one is, yeah. So,
I mean, whatever gets the job done, right?
I guess first question I asked is, Javi's a Cyclone player. They came up second place last season. One of the better players on the team too. And I was like, hey, what's your go-to warm-up routine before a match? Like, what gets you going? Like, sometimes I'm just trying to focus on things. I'm training around. Javi, Cyclone player, by the way, told me that they like to take a hot bath and listen to piano music before their match. But hey, man, you do you, man. You do you. I don't mind. Oh my God. If it gets you going, I guess. It's better than, I'll tell you what's bad though, cold fingers. I do not like cold fingers before a match. I'll go.
I heard from a lot of even just competitive streamers who play the game a lot that they keep a fan near them that blows hot air, or those little it's like a bag you could put in the
I've seen hand warmers.
And and it's you don't even think about something like that, but think about how many times you might be getting stressed at a game and it might just be due to some cold hands.
That could be it. I'd play a lot faster when my hands are warm. If they're cold, man, I'm missing that ball every time. And unfortunately, that's a lot.
Maybe some warm hands would do you some justice.
Maybe I should take a hot bath and listen to piano music. Follow the words of a pro. Second question I asked is, who's your biggest Rocket League inspiration and why? And they, obviously, he really likes Squishy, mellow and mechy dude. And I can respect him for that. I think Squishy's a hell of a player to look up to.
And it kind of pays homage to the kind of OGs of this game, that when this game probably wasn't seeing too much success in the world of its viewership, in the world of, you know, how much these players were probably getting paid in the early stages of this, you know, in the growing thing, just like RLSS, you know, RLCS had to grow as well, and Squishy was a part of that. He was a part of some of the early on stages of what is competitive Rocket League today. So it's nice to see him kind of throwing some homage out that way as well.
Mm-hmm. Next question I had, and I can't believe this, but I asked what kind of mechanic they're trying on to try to master. He said the simple flip reset. I was like, man, like, really? Like, you're trying to master that? I can barely do it, so it is tough for me, but I would, hey, I guess if you can't master it yet and you're working on it, good for you. I mean, you see so many people, you see people in Riptide who flip reset like it's no problem.
I guess the question would be about, maybe he more so means this is an interesting topic, because I think the flip reset opens up windows in Rocket League. And so not only can you shoot, but you can pass, you can create space, give the ball an extra nudge for a known self pass. I think being consistent in the right way with the flip reset is probably more so where he meant, where sure, we got Riptide players that go for them every single time. The question is, where were they aiming, and did the ball go exactly where they were aiming?
And it never does.
That's where things, I think, start to get a little skewed between Riptide and your top-level players, where Nightya doesn't just want you hitting a flip reset. He needs you passing him the ball. You know what I mean? And so if you can master that play, I think that is what makes you successful. And for Egoists, a team that has gone toe-to-toe with PSB twice now, I think is, you know, it's exciting to hear that he's trying to do that and see how that might pan out into the postseason and maybe another grand final presence for him. For
sure. I have to agree with part of our chat here, man. I'm lucky to get one. I go for the flip resets. I'm lucky to get it. It's so bad. All right, listen, next up.
I barely go for it.
Oh, and I don't blame you. Favorite food, Javi's favorite food. Chicken bowl from Chipotle, and that is a 10 out of 10. I just had Chipotle yesterday.
Did you get the chicken bowl?
I did. Actually, I believe it's a Chipotle chicken bowl, so a little bit more extra into it, but good God, I'm a big fan of that one. Hype man of the Egoists. And let's see, he says that he is the hype man, but teammates are like, about it. I respect that.
They don't stop it, but they're on the fence.
Yeah.
Which means there's a part of it that they do like.
Yeah, they're part of it. He says they're not a big fan of the cringe part.
The latter half of these questions are, I think, where things get really exciting.
I think it's fun. So I asked him, Dream 3's team. It could be any player on Rocket League, pro, amateur, whatever. And he says him, of course. Why not? Vatira and RW9. I like that. I think it's a solid team.
I think that's a solid roster. And maybe one of these times a player is on the spotlight and they call out a couple of pros and they give him a shot. Maybe bring him out as a sub and just see what happens. Would be a fun take from that.
Hit a flip reset or two.
I've always said, you know, it'd be cool if just one time a Cyclone like scrim would just let Tommy just join for just for as long as they could tolerate it, and just throw me in there and send me to the Wolves and just see what happens. And I think it'd be a fun take for some of these Cyclone players to get a shot at an opportunity like that.
Well, we sometimes have that opportunity with the All-Star game. In a sense, I mean, right. You get surge players with Cyclone, It can get wild.
Yeah. Wild, and I think it's a good thing for players to kind of see what the next level is, and almost a little bit of an ego check. You know what I mean? Of maybe I wasn't quite ready for that yet. You know what I mean? And I think the biggest part for players is a little piece of that humbling pie, reminding yourself that that a lot of these guys put in a lot of hard time and work to get where they're at. So I think that's an exciting aspect of RLSS that we've had in the past.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Next question was favorite songs, and they like "Returns" by NF. And I'm gonna be honest, I never heard of NF until they featured some of his songs on Rocket League. I can't remember what major it was, but never heard about him until then. And then I started listening to him. I freaking love NF too. Great songs.
NF is from Michigan, so I
okay.
I know who NF is, so
you probably grew up right down the street from him.
Believe it or not, he doesn't live too far, at least. So it's pretty exciting to see him kind of blow up in the way he has.
Oh my god.
This next answer is hilarious.
All right, what we got here? Next one. Is there anything people should know about you going into a match? Whether it be opponents, spectators, what should they think when they see your name? I remember this. He says that he carries his team even if the scoreboard doesn't show it. Extreme no wins. He's a bot and temp is okay, I guess. Put your teammates on blast, I guess.
Oh, that was probably the coolest response. And I'm glad that for the first spotlight of the week, this is where it went. So super exciting to see that take place.
I'll take it one up because it's even better because we got this fantasy league, right? And we can see all the stats. And guess who was the worst player on Egoist last week? And it wasn't the two people that he called out.
Very interesting, Javi. Very interesting.
Let's see. Next question. What was your expectations, or what is your expectation for this season? And solid answer. I could have went for the top, but he said to get top 2. I mean, come on. Like, you got to aim for first place.
Egoist always excites me, right? Mainly because of their name and the way they do talk at the post-game interview, and I love it. They walk the walk and talk the talk, man, with the best of them. And when you go toe-to-toe with PSB every season, I mean, these guys just know how to get the job done in tight situations. So it's always exciting to see them, and I love it. So I'd love to see Egoist, have a shot and be able to dethrone the 3-time champs, but there's a lot of talent this season. I think this season of all seasons could be a season that we see Nightya finally have to pass on that crown.
Oh man, they don't even play each other during the regular season. Oh, they're in different divisions.
I mean, Tommy didn't do that on purpose.
Whatever. All right, last question. What advice would you have for someone who is trying to reach the higher ranks of Rocket League? And try to end it on a good note, right? And coming from a Cyclone player, to just have patience, IQ, and composure will take you further than spazzing and spamming mechanics. And we're all looking at Bawa right now. He didn't say the Bawa part. That was me, Solo Nalo. That was what I said. But it's so true. I mean, take it from me. I am not a mechanical player, but I can put myself in the right spot, and I somehow got all the way up to GC. No idea how I did it, but it's just, I think that's a part of the game that people forget about.
Yeah, and I've talked about it before, but I'll say it, and I'll say it 1,000 times. I mean it wholeheartedly when I talk about mentality and patience, your IQ and composure. Being able to stay focused and remember the game of Rocket League when things are tough, I think is the hardest part. So I'd love to hear that from him as well. It's awesome to see that that's not just something I'm spitting out of my mouth, that this is coming from a player who's seen some of the best levels of this game is telling you the same thing. So it's exciting, and I think it's a nice reminder to players that you gotta play the game. You gotta play the basics.
Yep. So, anyways, that was our spotlight of the week for Javi. Exciting. I'll reach out to someone else new this week. I don't know who yet. I haven't asked the question yet, but
it's always interesting.
We'll find somebody to ask for week number 2, and hey, we'll talk about you in the next Tidal Talk.
Yes, sir. And we got a brand new topic coming up at you guys, and we're going to head on over right now. Welcome to Around the Bay here in RLSS. And this week, we got a pretty interesting and collegiate information coming from Mr. Bepic from SEL. If you guys are unfamiliar, SEL, a very, very big league in the collegiate scene. That is Southeastern Esports League. They do a lot of really big talent, and some of them you have seen in RLSS. And from around the Bay this week, we bring you some exciting news as they head into their postseason with their top 6 teams and a little bit of information. So we're going to give you guys that. Their top 6 teams come from Cumberland University, Bruton Parker College, James Madison University, Bruton Parker Academy. It's always got to be good when you see not only your main roster, but your B roster kind of flourishing really well and very competitive. I mean, I don't know if you guys know just off names of the colleges, but already if you do, you know that this is a very talented pool of players. And so to have both your main roster and your academy roster in the top 6 is pretty phenomenal. And then we have University of Florida and Kennesaw State. So players to watch out for headed to their final 6. They have Flitz on Kennesaw State. I've had the pleasure of actually casting him before. I believe that was in the Peach Belt, actually. So it's exciting to see him still getting the job done in another league here. And then coming from Cumberland University, not 1, not 2, but all 3 starters, Polar, Nitya, and Nex, are on the list, and 3 players that can get the job done. Cumberland University, and about everywhere I see it, they are competing at the top of the top. I think in CRL, they've even breached into the top 10. You don't like no cams on screen? Listen. There's supposed to be a chat box, but it's not working. Maybe we can work our cams into it next, okay? All right? You want to see that? You just want to see the chest shot. It's okay. I know. But then coming up from Florida, Hammy Crackers. I also got the experience in SEL, so it's going to be awesome to see what kind of presence Florida has into the top 6. And then Pigeon, another member of PSB. Here, a member of James Madison, going toe-to-toe with his teammate from Cumberland. Some excitement, man. Like I said, if you're familiar with CRL, you know who those players are. And it's really exciting to see them kind of find their way into that postseason and showcase that, they are at the top of their division. And some of the storylines developing. This is a very stacked top 6 from Southeastern Esports League, featuring players of notability in the RLCS scene. Cumberland are the heavy favorites considering their RLCS success. Multiple NA North American Swiss stage appearances as roster playing as the Polar Knights. And they've only dropped 4 games in the entire season. That sounds like a familiar story from PSV here at RLSS as well. So it's exciting to see that they're still getting the job done elsewhere. And then Bruton Parker. This has the best chance of taking them down. However, winner of the grand finals also gets a bid to the CECC May Madness Land down in Arlington, Texas. Okay. The lower bracket will be featuring Kennesaw State B, that has sub-flits into starting lineup for SEL playoffs. The rematch between Hammy Crackers Florida on Wednesday, so that's going to be an exciting one. Match went to Game 5 the last time they saw each other. James Madison potential attack leading at the Mechanical Wizard of Pigeon, but he does take on one of the toughest defenses in the league, Bruton Parker Academy. So, the B roster may not have some of the hitters that the Strikers Academy that, Bruton Parker has, but the academy roster does have a really solid defense, and it's something that they have found success in that now brings them into the postseason. You could find those matches streamed, Cumberland versus Bruton Parker at 7 CST on Wednesday, and the winners of the lower bracket match at 8 CST on Wednesday, live on TTV/esports SEO.
Wild. That's wild. It's I don't even know. Does Mr. Bepic even know that some of those players are in RLSS?
I don't believe that he's like fully aware that they are on a team, not even just here, but together.
I mean that in itself is amazing to like hear that. Like he's naming players that we have in this league, and that they're competing with each other, and they've been one of the top dogs in this league the entire time, and now we're seeing success at the college level with them, and other people are seeing their success. I think that's just awesome to hear.
Yeah. I've always talked about, the end of the day, what I want out of RLSS is, to not only have the community, but to make players better. We're here to play the game we all enjoy and to get better at Rocket League. And it's exciting to see the progress we've seen and players get and attain. And now to see it, players, there's a lot of the Cyclone has seen collegiate level. So it's pretty exciting to see them start to find their way and find their form and start to piece together those puzzles and really get the job done at the big level. So it's exciting. I'm really pumped for it. Now, coming into our stats, do we want to talk about some of the highlights, the big matchups first, or do we want to just kind of go into some of the fantasy in that first?
Let's show that big matchups.
All right. And if you were missing us on screen, welcome back. Welcome to Wave Metrics, our unique take on the stats here in RLSS. So before we get into showing some of the videos, we'll do that after we get through the fantasy stuff. We're just going to talk about some of the big matchups this week that kind of took place. So let's get into that here in week number 1. All right, so big matchups that kind of were big showings that I really liked from the Cyclone Cup. Next to New versus Decades. Next to New won that 3-1. And for me, that's a big showing from end-to-end to kick off the season. I think that they were really looking to kind of find their rhythm in this division. They've always competed at this level and really, really just wanted to kind of be the top of this division and start showcasing what Next to New is all about. And I think a win over Decades in the fashion that they did, a 3-1 victory, is a pretty big W for them this week.
Yeah, they've been around for a couple seasons now, and they've always done well. I think, at least from what I remember, they've done well in playoffs. So, obviously, not making it to the top 2. We know who those 2 teams are, but I think this is a good opportunity for them to really step up their game and show what they're made of. I think this is a good season. I mean, it's a full Cyclone season, so with the amount of players in each division, I mean, if you come out, on the higher end, if you come out on top, I mean, I think that says a lot.
Yeah. And to get the job done early, I think for them, that kind of motivation, hey, week 1's out of the way. If you've looked at that roster from Decades, you know that roster also known in the collegiate scene to get the job done and to make some noise in RLCS squalls. So it was a big win from Next to New, and I think that's a good start. And then heading into another big matchup, we talked about early on about how many Game 5s. We'll get into that through every division that we speak in tonight. But 100X Knight take on Raw. And 100X Knight, one of the top teams MMR-wise for seeding, go to Game 5 and an insane and electric ending that just reminds me that this division is stacked because Raw didn't get a very top seed. It was kind of middle of the pack. But the thing about Raw, if you don't know, 2 of their players are players that have gone to Game 5 on numerous occasions with a lot of top talent in this division. And listen, we got some exciting stuff for you, office. We got some exciting stuff. And they always are a team that can really put a number towards PSB. We saw them take a couple games off PSB last season, and they were one of the only teams to do that. I think it was one of the biggest showings last season, kind of the biggest hump in the road, if you will, that PSB had to get over was against 2 of the players that are on this Raw roster. So I think that this matchup kind of showcased this division's here, and they came to play.
I'm messing around with my lighting, man.
Dude, Office Ross asked if we cooked him yet. Listen,
not yet.
We got some interesting stuff coming. And then the Tsunami division, we stepped down a level. I really liked what we saw from Just Chalk It, bro. If you guys are familiar, that's Dap Tap's old roster without Dap Tap. They go 3-2 against Spartan Legion, where they take a loss on Champions Field. And for Spartan Legion, I think that's a huge win for them. It's a new org here in RLSS, and it was a massive offensive performance from Just Chalk It, bro. If you got to watch that game, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better offensive experience other than shots going in the net. But the defense for Spartan Legion was just surmountable at the very least. And it was really exciting to see them kind of put it to them and really lock in on the defensive side.
It was, I mean, we casted that one together, and it was just the amount of offensive plays. Oh, my gosh. It just kept on going. And then we went to 5, and I believe we went to overtime too, didn't we?
Yeah, we did go to a little bit.
It was wild. It was great games to watch, and it's just exciting because we had 3 games, and I think that was the first one that started off. Yeah, the first one or second one, but I mean, it really set the tone for the night.
And then headed into the Surge Cup. It's where things get interesting. FFE Akuma and End-to-End Legion, 2 powerhouses, go to an electric Game 5. And I think that also shows strength of season. FFE Akuma, a team that's seen the postseason before. End-to-End Legion. I don't think this particular roster has seen the postseason, but it's just exciting to see End-to-End still competing in multiple levels here in this league. So, I think it just shows strength of the season and just how far and how big that this league has come. So,
and not only that, like Legion took down what was arguably the best team last season in Surge. 9 is a ridiculous player. I mean, if you ever watch him play and the stats he puts up, it is wild what he does. So to take FFE Akuma to 5 and win, that's a team to watch right there, Tommy.
I do believe so myself. I would say that to be very careful of them. Because the other thing, too, is I don't think FFE Akuma played a bad game. It goes 5. It was a crazy finish. And those players can get the job done. So it's going to be really exciting to kind of see how that plans out. We'll save that middle one for the last Surge one. We'll come into Arrival 7. Take the victory 3-2 as well. And they played against End-to-End Reapers. New kids on the block get a victory over a pretty strong roster from End-to-End. And again, it's just another stat line that we're having. It's just the amount of Game 5s that took place this season already is crazy. And it was a massive W from Arrival 7. So it's exciting to see both some of the OGs that have been around for a few seasons and some of the new kids on the block really getting the job done. So big props to Arrival 7.
If you think about it, and I've been here since season 1, and you know about it too. In a way, the Splash League was kind of built on Game 5s. I mean, season 1, you got points if you went to Game 5. Win or lose, you got a point for it. It was a point system back then. And it's just what we love here. We love to see the Game 5. So I'm happy to see that we're still getting a lot of Game 5s.
True. Listen, I didn't mean to have that on screen, so if it was a lot to kind of read and take in, I do apologize. That wasn't the intention. These are just kind of our news. And our last Surge one comes from, unfortunately, Affinity Sapphire. Listen, I had to verse in week 1. I talked a lot of smack, so I figured it was only right that I come on here and talk about how Office Walrus gave Tommy the works in week 1 of RLSSFL as they took the victory 3-2. I got absolutely mopped by over 100 points. So congratulations, Office Walrus.
Yeah, so the fun thing about Office's team, though, is they drafted their entire team. Like, Office Walrus's full team is just Affinity Sapphire. That's all it is. Except, you didn't even play all of your players. You didn't play Sharky, and Sharky was one of your best players. I mean, what are you doing? Go all in.
Could have went all in. You should have played the cards.
It's wild. Just wild.
But we had to give Affinity Sapphire and Office Walrus a little shout out because he absolutely dogged Tommy B in week 1. So rightfully so, you've earned it.
I do love the fellas from
great. I don't want you to
Sapphire.
feel like this particular section, the big matchup section, is kind of dedicated a little bit more towards games that were close, games that were pretty decisive, and that's what it's for. We'll get to some more stats coming up. And then for Riptide, taking down the number 1 seeded team going into the first week, Optimal Ruby, and they do so 3-1. And we know that is capable of getting the job done. They saw round 1 of the postseason last season, and they come into week 1 and get the big upset from a statistical standpoint, anyways, from the top seeded team in week 1. So big showing from them.
No better way to start the season than to win the game or win the first week and do it against a team where a lot of people have high hopes for them. I mean, that's the best way to start the season. So you're on a high note. I'm excited to see what goes into in week number 2 and just see if they continue this winning streak going.
Yeah, it'll be super exciting. I think Riptide, we do have I think we're missing almost a complete season solo. I think we have 2 teams in Riptide that we just weren't able to fill. It's pretty amazing to see still how competitive this division's going to be. I think is reminding people like, hey, we might not be the number 1 seed, but we still came to ball. So it's going to be really dope to kind of see how that pans out. And then our final Riptide big matchup that really kind of struck me was 2 new teams. They show up in a big way, and one of these teams did something that sometimes takes weeks or if at all to take place. Coballers played Kraken Crew Raiders and win 3-2, but they don't just win 3-2. They get the reverse sweep, and it comes at the hands of a big performance from Swaggy P. So massive W goes out to them. They kick off the season with the first Season 8 reverse sweep victory. So congrats out to Coballers for that.
It's wild. I've been in some reverse sweep situations. I've won them and I've lost them. But I'll tell you what, it is no more stressful than ever. I mean, that last game where you're like, we can actually do this. I mean, that first goal is important because it really does set the tone for the rest of the game. If you get the goal, I mean, you're all high and mighty. But if they score, oh, man, it was just a long time coming. We almost got it. But, man, I've been in them. They're exciting when you win them. It's probably one of the best feelings that I've had with my teammates is just completing that reverse sweep. So good for the Coballers.
Love to hear it. That's going to be it from our big matchups of the week. We're going to get into some fantasy stats and then a little bit of stats of the league from solo. And then we have a little exciting thing to show you at the end.
Yeah. So a couple things. I think this was an interesting stat that we saw. There's 2 players who had 10-plus goals this week, which is, in my opinion, kind of ridiculous because that your whole offense is feeding through you. And we saw Rocky G of Exhale Esports, 13 goals. Wild. Now, that was in 5 games. I'll get even better with this. JDS in Tsunami, GHE Aurora,
yes,
11 goals in 3 games. I mean, that's a hat trick every game and some.
Yeah, to be able to score that way also means that your team believes in you, right? The biggest part of that is that your team allows you to keep scoring and feeds the hot hand. And this week, Rocky G, JDS, man, arguably some of the best shooting we've seen in a while. I mean, to put that kind of attack power on the net is pretty impressive. So big showing from them and reminding the little guy. I was just telling Kira the other night, he didn't go like 1-14 or anything, but putting shots on net can do a big deal.
It can. It's a good reality check against the defense. If they just block, an easy shot is all you need. It puts them in check. I always like to do that. Speaking of on check and shots on goal, Pirates on a bot are 13 for 13 on goals and assists. That's the highest in the league right now. They are absolutely perfect passing to each other and scoring. It's just ridiculous. I haven't seen that number that high. I mean, usually, if you get 7 or 8, that's pretty high, but 13, that is high for this league.
Not just high, but to me, that's team confidence, right? That's a team that is able to get the job done together as a team. And it's really exciting to know that they're able to do that. And even at times separate and play in other collegiate teams and against each other. So it's really interesting the type of aspect that they bring to the table.
Yeah. So to get some leaders here now, the most assists, the team with the most assists, then it will be Pirates on a Bot. They got 13. Okay, number 1 in goals, JDS with helping out GHE Aurora. They had a total of 19 goals. JDS had 11 of those 19. They were still scoring without him. And number 1 in saves, I believe they had 24. I don't have the number on me. Affinity Sapphire. Gotta love that team. In Surge, number 1 in saves of all of our RLSS.
That is pretty impressive.
Man. Now, when I think of demos, when you think of demos, Tommy, who do you think of?
I think of one person, and that's going to come at the hands of Clixel.
Yeah. Clixel is arguably the demo king, right? So, of course, we got to highlight his demo count. And I'd like, eventually we get this going, I want the Clixel demo count somewhere on the screen just to keep it. But here's where Clixel's at right now. Week 1, Clixel had 14 demolitions. But get this, 3 players are beating him right now. 3 players. Heisen on the Team Evo Evenhose, 15 right now. Aqua on KCG Volt with also 15. And the number 1 in RLSS right now, they have 17 demos, is Shiga on Dynasty Esports. There's a Cyclone team also. So it is exciting.
They won, I think, 3-1. So in a 4-game series, he got 17. So, I mean... Listen,
you gotta jump out of the way.
I'm glad I wasn't on the field, man.
I would have rage quit probably. I just said I'm done. I'm not playing this. So Clixel's getting beat out, man.
He is getting beat out, and it's a close game, and it'll be exciting to see how he takes that news and what kind of energy he brings forward.
Let's see. Last one I had was we got the Fantasy League. And usually we try to strive for about 80-point average. I think it's kind of gone up a little bit. We're seeing a lot of players with about 100. But 200-point games are very hard to get, and we only had one last season. This season, week 1, we had 2 guys, and it's, of course, the 2 guys that scored the most, with Rocky G and JDS at 213 points and 201, respectively. So absolutely fantastic showing for them. I can tell you right now, I don't think JDS has been picked up. I think Rocky has.
Which is crazy because the stat that we're about to get into is nuts. And the fact that he's not on a roster is even crazier. Like, this is going to be Knight played JDS team, right? I do believe so. So, which is crazy. So he had a heck of a night against a really crazy team. And it might be a little hard to see on screen. Again, bear with us. We're still learning this whole podcast thing here in Tidal Talk. Hopefully we can I can actually pull it up on the screen and it'll get a little bit better for you guys next week. But we won't go through the primary positions, but we do have a little bit of time to kind of talk about the top 5 players in each division. So we'll kind of go through that, and we can kind of cycle off. Do you want to take Cyclone, or do you want? We'll do Cyclone. You go Cyclone Tsunami. I'll do Surge and Riptide.
Sure.
So lift off, and if anybody has like some crazy stats, maybe list off how they did in each department, even.
Yeah. So Jared is going to take number 1 overall, which is interesting, right? Because Rocky scored all those points, but Jared just overall played a better performance. All around. They, saved more, did more assists, that sort of thing. And so with that taken into account, Jared's actually the number 1 player in Cyclone, kind of like the most valuable player, kind of all around. With Rocky G coming up in second, I mean, geez Louise, look at the points. 213 points in fantasy is quite something. And with all those goals that they scored, it really does show. And then next you've got Sith. Sith and Jonas are actually tied coming into this. We just ended up putting Sith up there, and then Hallow kind of bringing it up at the end.
Yeah, a big performance. I like I said, I've always talked about Ra and how exciting Hollow always keeps it. And I think it's no strange feat that we see Hollow rounding out that top 5.
Mm-hmm.
He's always trying to get his best foot forward. So now we come into Tsunami.
Right. You said I was doing Tsunami?
Yeah.
See, this is my first week. Sorry. A new guy.
Okay.
So first, in Tsunami, JDS, all those goals, 201 points. They just deserve it. Absolutely crushed it this week here in week number 1. Number 2 is Yogan. Been around a couple seasons, if I remember correctly. I've definitely heard the name before.
These Death Cloud Corksters.
That's right. Yes. And they were a good team too. So it's good to see Yogan back. Days coming in at number 3. Anima Killer. We all know who Anima is. We're glad to see him back, especially in Tsunami. I'm happy to see Anima in Tsunami.
Love it.
And then we got Wyatt. Wyatt's also been around for, I believe, another season or 2.
Yeah, I think he's kind of been a quiet one, so it's exciting to see him in the top 5 and really start to make a name for himself. It's exciting to see that as well.
And the crazy part is, we've got some names up here. We're only showing 5 names from every division. There are big names out there still that are trying to get into this top 5.
Yeah, and it's tough, man. Because you got to perform every week. That's the tough part, right?
Yep.
And it's really showing just how competitive I think the top of these divisions are. Now headed into Surge, our number 1 overall player. Invis, 154 respectfully in the striker department, but it did come at the hands of 144 and 141 in the goalie department, so high scoring all around, and it kind of is what gets you that top player. We talked about a little bit up top from Jared, and it speaks the same down here for Invis. And then now coming in at the number 2, Apex, our overall best scorer in Surge, 161 average, and 130, 131 at midman and goalies, a pretty big performance as well. Saucy Tiffles, which I'm pretty sure at some point I called Saucy Tibbles. It's exciting to see him get into the place. Big department is at the midman, but across the board sitting about a mid 130s overall. And if I'm looking at this, man, I think from an average standpoint, it looks like a big showing overall from the Surge division.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome.
It's exciting to see. And I think in the past we've talked about that being a division, the Cyclone and Surge always kind of really standing out. So it's a really interesting division to see. And we just spoke about 9 getting beat. And he's still, not only did they get the dub, but they took down a number 4 overall player. I mean, he was putting work out there. 147 overall in the striker department. So it's not just playing well, but he was playing well on offense, and to know that he took the loss is pretty crazy, man. And it just goes to show how strong this division is. And then rounding out the top 5, who didn't even get to put a stat in Fantasy League, puts up 130 in the striker department, coming from Sharky.
Just a waste of points by whoever drafted Sharky. Certainly, it wouldn't be their teammate.
And then we have coming in at Riptide, we've got Latched rounding things out at 125. I think this is really showing that this is where the consistency plays a role, right? And if you're gonna be playing Riptide, consistency is what is gonna get you to the top of that division and is what is gonna see the grand finals. I think that's the biggest W to take away from Riptide, is to take the regular season as a way to grow and learn as a player and really get prepared for being a well-rounded, as consistent player as you can in the postseason. Because I think that is what sets the difference between the winning teams and the teams that don't make the postseason. But Latch coming in at 125. Spy almost 100 across the board, which is pretty nice to see. 101 being his biggest one at the goalie department. Swaggy P, we just spoke about them. It was a massive performance in that reverse sweep. And then Swaggy P out here, the number 3 overall Riptide player with 105 in the striker department. If we do have a little bit of time, we do have a quick highlight reel we'll show through with everybody, and it does have Swaggy P in there. I'll try to reach out to the teams and see if we can push this game back just a little bit. Then we have Bo coming in. 80s overall, so kind of sitting your average. We talk about your average player really sits in that 80, 85 department. So Bo just kind of playing good, well-rounded Rocket League, getting on the board here in the top 4. And then Wabmo coming in at 103, his highest in the striker department. So an exciting performance for all these players, and congratulations on making the top 5 overall, man.
Yeah, it's exciting. Nice job, guys. I mean, and the crazy part is we can watch week to week. How are these players doing? Like you see Tsunami, JDS is way above everybody else. I mean, are they going to continue being this high priority player? And are we going to see that this carries them through playoffs? I mean, that's the kind of storylines we can see. And I think it's going to be an exciting league to watch in the Tsunami division, especially the Surge. I like that you give out a little shout out to the Surge division. They always play hard.
Yeah, they play hard, and I feel like that's where a lot of the grind, it's like the reality of I got to grind or I don't got to grind, you know what I mean? So it's going to be exciting to kind of see how those players develop. Before we do get out of here, I just want to throw it up. I don't know if it can be seen, but a big performance from Kisig and Solonalo in the Fantasy League. This was our probably closest battle. You can see Solonalo with an absolutely stacked roster, Extreme Wins, Elites, and Mattias Maximus. At rounding out goalie. He's got Naitya as a 4th man. And listen, if I got to have a 4th man, a guaranteed point system, I feel like that's where you place that.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
So we want to give these players a lot of love, too, that, are getting the job done in the Fantasy League to get victories. And then on the other side, you've got Kisig with Nikoi, Javi, and Zern, with our highlight of the week coming from Javi. And a big performance from Goldar Esports out in Zern. So, and they have Hollow, another member of that Raw roster, and 129 points. And they lost. I think it's just another way to just showcase how great that team always is, man. They got a top 4 player and a player that's put almost 130 points up. It's pretty impressive.
Yep. I'm excited, man. I think week 1 fantasy is always interesting. You think you know the players, and then you kind of see how they do. And then week 2, I mean, look at Kisig last season. He's our current champion. And last season, he basically got rid of his entire roster after week 1 and started with completely new players.
Yeah, and Kisig is always so interesting with that, man. And I think the biggest part of fantasy that I really like is people are looking at stats. They're diving into previous seasons, how they performed before here in RLSS. We heard people looking up how they're looking at on Liquipedia and their previous performances in lands and stuff. So people are really diving into this full-fledged. So we did get word that we can postpone this just a little bit. So without further ado, we have an exciting little treat for you guys. This is going to showcase some casters and players around RLSS this week that were casted and had some pretty highlight moments. First set that you're going to see is highlight moments from the reverse sweep coming out of Co-Ballers. So let's take a look at a few of those. I'm trying to feel how big that is. Does that look big enough for you guys on screen? Is it better if I go F11 and just give you the full screen? We'll just do it one by one.
Go F11, baby. Go F11.
Right. Let's do it. This is in under a minute. Co-Ballers needed a goal.
This series, Co-Ballers have the lead. Finally, the Kraken Crew Raiders defense just falls through. There was nobody there to make
contact, and Swaggy P gets the job done. A huge performance from Swaggy P. We're going to see more of him as we get into more and more of these clips. Now, the next game in the series. And shout out, if you don't know the voice, RLCS. We'll back it up. I just want to give a shout out. If you don't recognize the voice, RLCS APAC caster, Quantec. So, Quanzek, I apologize. Make sure you guys show some love out that way if you don't know him.
A monstrous kickoff win. Can Ballers get their first multi-goal lead of this entire series? They can.
Bobo says, oof, they reverse swept me. Listen, it was probably one of the exciting matchups I got to like do production for. So
behind it, but Swaggy P kind of just read the entire left side of the net, hoping to be there to stifle any attempt at a clear and to smother that ball before it escaped the crease.
A huge performance from Swaggy P. We saw him in that top 5 of Fantasy League, and I think it just goes to show it. I mean, he got the job done when he needed to in this matchup.
Swaggy P to go ahead and grab it and play it in, but that one will be whistled in.
This
by
is game
Swaggy
4.
P. He couldn't find the initial pass from Louise, but got it from Maple with the most awkward double tap I've ever seen. But they don't ask how, they ask how many. And maybe
those are some of my favorite passes, right off the wall. People can't defend them for some reason.
I think coming off that wall is really tough, and they were doing it exceptionally well to kind of get the job done. And then on Champions Field, Swaggy P does it again, folks.
Your way in. Get creative. It's not going to work out. Your way in.
It came quick, so you have to see it on the replay.
Work out here, unfortunately, though.
Shout out to the community for grabbing these clips, too.
Yeah, seriously. And for those watching, I mean, send those clips in. We want to see them, and we want to put them, on showcase here.
He didn't get a piece, and if the second one was insurance, that third one might be the nail in the coffin.
Big performance from them, man.
Can Kraken crew get...
Just a little bit of a closeout. Co-ballers, like I said, able to get the job done and really kind of showcase that they came here to play. And then these next ones are just a couple of matchups that took place through a couple of different series. I believe this first one comes from 8060 Sports and OG Kraken. Mattias Maximus on the fantasy team that got a big win over Kisig from Solinalo is in a couple of these clips.
Yeah, he scored a lot. I played him at goalie. It didn't really help out for me there, but he kicked butt, man. It was fun to watch this, and I believe we casted it too. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we and you casted this together. This is 8060 Sports in Game 4, sending it to Game 5, and then of course in Game 5 for the victory.
Oh, man.
Got lost in the sauce as a beautiful play from JD.
I remember this.
Yeah. It was an insane
wide
from
open.
JD Mayo at the midfield.
Mm-hmm.
Saw an opening and took it.
86 Esports able to.
Castro, I think on another play coming up, had a big play and you got super excited.
Castro was scoring quite a bit.
Woo! Castro's another
game.
hot player, man, not to sleep on. Mm-hmm. This is another crazy matchup. This was just Chalk It Bro and Spartan Legion. If you didn't get to see it, again, this is Dap's old roster, still kicking and still doing some exciting things. So this was with 12 seconds left in game 1.
Oh, no. Here it is. Can they get it? Is Spartan going to do it? It's off the ground. Oh, hard. Oh, my gosh.
Did Harm get 4 out of the 5 goals?
Something like that.
Castro 2.0. Look at JT almost get that, dude.
He almost had that save.
Did his teammate put it in?
I'm telling you, man. So defense goes unnoticed sometimes, man. It is pretty impressive.
You gotta be good at defense. You really do. And defense is as simple as just hit the ball, just touch it.
That was a big shot coming out of here. This now gets into the Affinity Nightfall take on N2 and Cosmos game. That also went pretty far.
Swag. Now going to the other side, has some time, beats out
I believe
one.
game
Buckster
5, another big
midfield.
showing.
Now off the wall, Buckster pass another. That's an open net, as Yogan just simply has to touch it. Easy. 3-2 Affinity Nightfall, trying to end it here in game number 1.
You definitely don't want to leave one sitting at the front doorstep. Can we talk about?
Well, that was Yogan too, wasn't it?
Yeah, Yogan, who made a top rank in fantasy as well. I'm telling you, man, these players are grinding for some tough spots. This is now in about the middle of the series. This was a very close game, so we grabbed a couple clips from each. This is a 4-2 lead currently for N2 and Cosmos.
Reflex. No, it's Swag.
And a crazy play here. Boof. The audio seems fast.
Seems like that, doesn't it?
Swag got the beat at the goal line to give him the lead, a big lead, and now here to gotta seal the deal for Nightfall. This is the roster here tonight to do it against.
I think End2End is just playing so fast too. Affinity just can't keep up with it. God, another shot by Swag.
I'd like to see how Swag did overall. It seemed like he was a pretty big performance for End2End Cosmos this week. What a touch here.
Let's see. Not too bad. Striker over 100 points.
There you go. And now we get into Ra versus 100X Knight. This is, like I said, you see Ryan, Ariel, and Hollow, man. They are known to kind of go toe-to-toe with teams, and they did it against 100X Knight. It was exciting. So let's take a couple quick looks at some of their match. Well executed. Second half has put them out in front by 2. 20 seconds on the clock. Ariel. I don't know why the audio is like so quick. But Jared gets an absolute beat from the midfield that finds its way through. Beautiful play. Now headed about halfway through it. Maybe I kind of like let it play. There you go. Shot does come out. This one 50. Not out of trouble. This one needs to be out of the zone. Nobody's home. Hollow's got the look. In a sudden turn of events. Raw.
Hollow did great.
And this read, dude, is to cheat upfield, have confidence in your teammate, you stay upfield. 30 seconds remaining, I believe it was the last goal that ended up going, and they send it to Champions Field, and this is the closeout to it. A huge performance from Jared.
Just so you know, I missed that previous shot 10 times out of 10.
Look at the dunk, dude.
Dude.
Finish it off the kickoff.
Jared, man.
What a touch. What a read. Jared.
Snuck it in as well. I like it.
For the finish. That is going to wrap up kind of our big matchup highlights. And then to kind of wrap things up, man, is there anything you're looking forward to headed into the next week? A matchup that sticks out? And then we'll introduce this 9 o'clock match and get things rolling.
I think the biggest match I'm looking at is coming out of that Surge division. It's going to be Torrent Typhoon going against Infinity Mirage. I'm excited for this one.
I really like that too.
Chrono and Almstar again. Almstar's coming back, and we're gonna be going against Gray, Squashy, and the favorite name to cast in the world, Duber. Oh my gosh, I'm excited. I'm excited, man. It's gonna be a good one.
I think that's going to be a really exciting highlight. And, hopefully, like I said, we encourage you guys, if you're out there, you're part of RLSS, get clips in, submit them to the highlights of the week. We will do our best to get you guys out there and showcase. That's what this is for. So don't hesitate to kind of get involved and get those clips in and be a part of it. Be on the lookout. Solo might hit your DMs up, and you might be on Highlight of the Week. Is a fun one. We're going to have some more excitement, hopefully coming from ATS next week, and CPL over from Krusty. I know it was a kind of fast this week, and that we weren't able to get them in on it. I know Sporty wanted to. I think they had a playoffs this weekend, so hopefully maybe we can get some ATS playoff action next week. And check back in with SEL and see how the top 6 panned out as well. So whether it's RLSS, whether it's RLSSFL, or if it's from around the Bay and you're looking for talent at Collegiate and other leagues around the way, make sure to check out us here in Tidal Talk. We will be doing this every week, and it's going to get better and better as we get going. So I love y'all so much. Thank you so much for coming out. We got about a 10-minute window here, and we're going to try to prep for the next match coming up at you. And that is going to be between Crew Predators and Yukio, I cannot say that last word. I love y'all so much, but that one is stumping old Tommy. So it's coming up from Yukio. So give us about a 10-minute window here to kind of prep things up. I'll be back in the booth to cast that one, and we will see you guys shortly. Thank you so much for coming out. I love y'all. That's going to be it from Tommy B. Any closing words from you?
Hey, be here next week.
Ooh, Office Walrus says Sapphire and Reapers. Okay. I love y'all. That's going to be it. We're tuned off. I'll be back in the booth as quickly as possible for this matchup. I'll see you guys here in a moment.